I think he's capable of throwing for 5,000 yards in this offense. And I think Kevin O'Connell's going to take the training wheels off. I'm excited for this football team. I think one thing we know in the National Football League is change is constant. The Vikings have a new head coach and a new general manager. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to work wonders with Kirk Cousins. Keep in mind, Kevin was in Los Angeles last year when the Rams acquired Matthew Stafford. You look at the success that Matthew had in his first season, winning a Super Bowl with the Rams. And in talking to Kevin, he said Matthew took ownership of the offense. I think we're going to see that with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, as bad as things were last year in Minnesota, he threw 33 touchdowns and just 7 picks. I think he's capable of throwing for 5,000 yards in this offense. And I think Kevin O'Connell's going to take the training wheels off. Remember, with Mike Zimmer, a defensive-minded head coach, a guy that wanted to establish the running game, he wanted to limit the exposure some of Kirk Cousins. That's not going to be the case with Kevin O'Connell. I think it's going to be freewheeling. It's going to be aggressive. It's going to be an up-tempo style of offense, something that I think Kirk Cousins will really thrive in. When you look at the supporting cast, I mean, Adam Thielen, even on a down year last year, he's good for 9 or 10 touchdowns. You look at Justin Jefferson. All he's done in his first 2 seasons is shatter records here in Minnesota. Dalvin Cook's a really good running back. If they can stay healthy at the tight end position, and they've got to solidify the interior of the offensive line. On defense, you've got a new defensive coordinator, Ed Donatell, who's going to bring a 3-4 scheme. I think they're going to be better on defense. The challenge for the Vikings is, can they narrow that gap between themselves and the Packers in the NFC North? But trust me, Kirk Cousins is going to put up big numbers this year for the Minnesota Vikings. It's really hard when you talk about a player like Justin Jefferson to try and compare him to other great players. We were just talking a moment ago about some of the great receivers that I've played with. He's not Chris Carter. He doesn't have that body type. He's not a big a weapon inside in the slot like Chris Carter was. Art Monk was a different type player. Tim Brown didn't have the straight line speed that Justin Jefferson does. Jerry Rice, even in his heyday, maybe didn't have this top end speed. But I think there's some comparisons with a guy like Jerry Rice. I think you look at their body type. I think you look at their athleticism when the ball's in the air. You look at the way they attack the ball in the air. I think you look at their short area quickness, their ability to stop, pivot, adjust. I think their ability to adjust to the ball in the air, whether it's in front of them, behind them, low, high. But he's good in traffic. He's good outside the numbers. He's good on the boundary. He's got a good spatial awareness. And the other thing he does so well is he's a very confident catcher of the football. You don't see a lot of balls get in on his body. He does a great job catching the ball with his hands extended. He's got great hands, strong hands, and I think he's gotten better, the last couple seasons at the line of scrimmage. I think the best receivers can create instant separation at the line of scrimmage. He does a great job of that. He's got that first step quickness. He's got a good stutter step, ability to get on top of a corner very quickly. And then once he gets on top of a corner, he has the ability to separate. And let's give a little bit of credit where credit is due. He also has a quarterback that's very accurate, that's been in the system, and I think has a lot of confidence in throwing the ball in his direction. And that goes a long way. I mean, you can be a great receiver, but you don't have a very accurate quarterback. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins. Extremely accurate. I think his career completion percentage is up there around 65%. And even in an off year, Kirk Cousins still threw for over 4,200 yards, 33 touchdowns, and just 7 picks. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but he gives his receivers a chance to make a play on the football. The other thing that benefits Justin Jefferson is Adam Thielen. I mean, he's good for 10 touchdowns every year down the red zone. Another good target, another weapon that you have to respect from a defensive standpoint. So that takes some of the doubles off of him at times. And I think the other thing that's really going to benefit him is this new look offense that Kevin O'Connell brings. They're going to move Justin Jefferson around a lot more than we saw the first 2 seasons, which I think is going to free him up and give him some opportunities in one-on-one coverage. But look, we're talking about a guy that shattered every receiving record the Vikings have had the first 2 years. And when you can consider that Randy Moss was once a Viking, he's in pretty good company.